It's deranged, royal fae. They'll act crazy all day. They'll apologize for the fail, but still scream and wail. It's deranged, royal fae. Yeah!
I've got a big whiny baby in my lap now, don't I?
Yeah, hop down and start meowing at me again, aren't you?
Hello and welcome to another Mental Monday. I went hard with today's look, and instead of wearing all white, I'm wearing black. Trying to escape from the ward. I'm kidding. I'll always be in the psych ward no matter how good or bad I feel, and that's okay. So a new development Oh, I forgot I had the crescent moons. That would have gone great amongst the stars.
Really? Tell me more.
That's my joke with her. Whenever she gets very needy and meows a lot, I just be like, oh, is that so? Tell me more. But yeah, I might seem a little cheerful today. And you know, I'm feeling kind of great, kind of good, kind of, you know, like I deserve better. And honestly, I'm probably just fueled by rage. It'd be nice to be happy without it having to be of anger. But until then, I didn't do any mascara on my actual eyelashes. I did mascara like everywhere else, but I didn't do it on the eyelashes. And you know, that's okay. Funny thing I find with like media or like animated and drawn media and its portrayal of eyelashes is on feminine people, they tend to really accentuate the eyelashes, make them big, make them full, and then with like guys, they give them none or like very, very minimal. Have they actually looked at real people and their eyelashes? Because the people I find with the best fucking eyelashes, the nicest, fullest, loveliest eyelashes, tend to be cis men, especially AMABs, especially pre-transitioned trans women, and cis men. Like, it's like testosterone gives you great fucking eyelashes. I even looked at some of my photos and compared them a little bit, and it's like my eyelashes did look a little nicer on testosterone than it did on high estrogen. So it's just like, have you guys actually looked at human beings? Have you noticed how beautiful cis men's eyelashes are and how cis women's eyelashes are The only reason why they might seem really amazing is because of mascara. And as far as I can tell, you know, animated wolf ladies are not going to have mascara. You know, I'm not talking about like werewolf ladies. No, I'm talking about wolves. You know what cartoon I'm mentioning. But yeah, I would say cis men have the best, prettiest fucking eyelashes I've ever seen in comparison. But yeah, so I was talking about being fueled by rage, and let's start a step at a time. So as you know, I have my planner, and as you can see on this last Monday, we've had a pretty bad fucking crash. There's lots of fucks to go around. If you could focus on this instead, that would be, there we go, perfect, pristine, amazing, that's what I wanted. So we've got like fuck and fuck and fuck. And then we've got nope, sorry, wrong day. So and on Monday we also say I wanna hurt myself, I wanna drink alone or overdose on a weed cookie. There's no point. I just want everyone to leave me alone. Basically what happened Monday. So I had asked the girls, Hummingbird and Kitty, like, hey, my exes, can we go out to movies together at some point, especially for like, you know, Hummingbird's birthday, because that's right around the corner. And I never got like a yes or no per se from either, or one of them kind of was like, you know, maybe, you know, maybe not that movie that I suggested, but you know, maybe. And then the one just never responded. And then Monday, I didn't know Hummingbird also went, but Kitty went with her new girlfriend, and it kind of hurt, especially it was like, well, there's not gonna be any fucking movies left to watch together and things like that. But you know, it is what it is at this point. But yeah, so it's just kind of like, Yeah, and I kind of spiraled a bit the next day, and I just didn't feel good enough to be, conversing with people and such. And then Wednesday, I just kind of had some anxiety and such. And I put the end of Wednesday, I want to hit myself, I want to hit myself, I want to hit myself. I ended up having to do this thing where I walk in circles to get my energy out and shit. And then Thursday, I had my doctor's appointment finally with my new PCP, and you can see here a really big, or not big, but really intense fuck that hit the end of the night. And an arrow pointing at it saying, almost called 911 on myself. So Kitty sat me down, or was sitting down with me, because we sit down a lot together in the middle of the night, just discussing things, life, etc. It's just a normal thing we do. It's kind of this like little love language between us, even as just friends. And eventually told me that her and Hummingbird have been talking for a week. I'm going to talk about why that bothers me. That little detail. And feel that it's best for my mental health and their mental health that I move out. They're not kicking me out, just eventually I have no freaking clue when they would like me to move out, because I'm in a position where that's going to be very easy, right? So I have so many reasons why that was a very problematic thing. And I did initially spiral pretty bad, but I didn't want to do it in front of her. I was just I tried my best to be as calm as possible. And it kind of was also a realization that, I'm never going to be back in the polycule. And yeah, or it's still a very big potential. Like what you feel right now could change in a week, in a year, in a month, But yeah, but that's not me saying I'm holding on to hope. It's probably for the best that I don't think the polycule. I've had those thoughts of, well, yeah, I love and care about them so much, but, we're just going to hurt each other again, etc. So, I had my spiral. I came into my room. At one point, I was like, there's nothing left to talk about. And she clearly just wanted to keep talking, but there literally didn't feel like there was anything to talk about. And I felt like if I tried to, I was just going to get emotional. So I was like, I need to kind of take that private moment to talk to to have a moment to myself, because it was just like, you dropped this huge fucking bomb on me. What the fuck else am I supposed to know what to respond in the moment? Like, that's something that's upsetting frustrating. Sorry, something frustrating is when people drop a bomb on someone else, especially if it seems out of nowhere, and it's a really big, impactful thing, especially on someone's life, and you kind of just expect them to want to talk it out and hash it out right then and there, when, maybe you've had time to think about it, but the other person has not. Unless this is something that's been off and on, been talked about. But if it's something kind of out of the blue for the most part, or just kind of something that just like first time you ever actually brought up formally, you cannot expect someone to know how the fuck to respond. And maybe it is good that you immediately give them space to think on it, instead of expect them to have a conversation with you when they are not prepared at all, emotionally or physically, drop the bomb, let them, maybe you can sit with them and just not expect to keep talking, but just don't expect them to hold a conversation with you without it not being productive. There's a huge chance it won't be. So then I took a moment in my room, and I just desperately wanted to fucking end my life and desperately hurt myself. But here's the thing. I am stubborn and prideful. I really, truly am a Leo. I am very fucking prideful. I even got my mane styled. Or if I'm going for the phoenix analogy, I got my crest. But we'll get to the phoenix later. So yeah, I have this weird sense of pride about, I'm stubborn, and if you tell me something about myself that I do not agree with, I will bend over backwards to prove you wrong. And I do not agree with the idea that they are bad for my mental health. Honestly, them being here, or me being here at the very least, not them per se, but me being here is probably the one thing that's keeping me grounded. The hope of ever being with them is probably one of the few things keeping me grounded. Because things of Capybara, yeah, he still loves me, yeah, we're staying together, but there's kind of a lot of things about what's the point with that one? Not saying that there's no point in loving and living in the moment and such, I'm not saying that. But what's the point in the idea of, it feels like we'll never be domestic partners. Like, that doesn't seem like a card in his hand that he wants to play. It never feels like, like, I've kind of already forsaken the idea of actively trying to move to the UK. Maybe one day I will, maybe, who knows. But right now, that is definitely not a fucking priority, and does not seem like something he truly really wants, at least not at the moment. So, my priorities are here in the States. And marriage will sound like it'll permanently be off the table. And, so yeah, it's like, I have this thing about, like, for a bit now, it's been like my hope about being with the girls and such like that. Not saying they will fix me, not saying being with them will make all my depression go away, but it was something hopeful to be about, because it does feel like I have given up so much for Capybara, and he would never give up a fraction of what I'm willing to give up for him. I love him, don't get me wrong. He drives me crazy at times, but I still love him. And I can be frustrated as fuck with him. He pisses me off a lot. But, I fucking love and adore the man. For some reason. I'm kidding. Bad joke. I do love and adore him. And he does drive me crazy and he pisses me off quite a bit. But I feel like I probably do the same to him. And that's just how it is. As long as we work it out in a healthy, communicative, mature way. That's what matters. There's some things that he did that piss me off recently if I haven't yet. I have kind of gone to this point where it was like, I feel like I've given up so much for him, and he hasn't given up much and probably won't give up much. Like, there's this thing where he really is not sure he'll ever come visit me here, and it's like, bro, what? All because he's worried about the chance of running into someone he doesn't like, someone he's never met but is angry with and wants to hurt. It's just like, he has the goal to sometimes joke that I'm immature, and then he goes and be like that. I'll get into that detail later, but it's just, yeah, so I had a lot of hope with the girls, and felt like they have been pretty good. Yeah, I did admit to Kitty earlier in the week or whatever that some of my spirals have been linked to the polycule. But that's not to say that they are bad to my mental health. That's to say that I'm not regulating my emotions, that they aren't hurting me intentionally. Maybe they're being a little careless, but that's on me at the end of the day. And here's the thing. I've been struggling with mental health for the last, decade, 15 years, for a long time. It just feels like it's been getting worse. But that's not their thing to claim. That's not their right to say, it's my fault, or it's linked to us. It's not. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, that feels a little self-centered. That feels like you're claiming right to something you have no right to. So I got a sticker design I've made. It's something I feel like saying to them, but I probably would never. But, go fuck yourself. My life and mental health does not revolve around you. Because it doesn't. Yes, maybe there's some triggers, but here's the thing. I was going to be triggered by something else anyways. I am a depressed fucking mess. I have borderline. I might have bipolar. I have a lot of issues. You cannot claim to be the source of my mental health, source of my life. Yes, maybe I've been weighing a little bit of my self-worth to things related to them, but whether or not I get validation from them does not change whether or not I feel worthy or have any self-worth. I would still, if I was in a relationship with them, I would still feel like I didn't deserve them. I would still feel like I didn't deserve it, whether or not they told me so. And even not being in a relationship with them, I would still have felt the same. And at this point, I feel like I deserve better. But yeah, so that's one of my issues with her saying that she's bad for my mental, or being here is bad for my mental health. I'm like, bitch, first of all, no, I don't think she's a bitch. I'm just saying bitch, first of all, catty. She's like, yo, bitch, how's it going? What's up, bro? I feel bad using bro and dude sometimes around trans women, so, but no, it's just like, come on, girl, You don't get to feel like you are the source of my depression, because you're not. I was struggling back in the UK. I was struggling last year before the breakup. I've been struggling all my life. So, fuck off with that. And secondly, it feels very invalidating about the fact that she's not acknowledging the fact that I've been doing much better. You go back to March. I was dysfunctional. I was hardly leaving my room. I was missing meals. I was sleeping all the time. I was having panic attacks all the time. I was having really heavy suicidal thoughts all the time. And now here I am, before today, where, yeah, I'd have my spirals. I'd have a few days I would slip behind, but that was not my normal and everyday. Yeah, I was depressed every day, but I was able to pick myself up. I was able to function. And not acknowledging that, and also not acknowledging the fact that every single safety plan that's in place was my idea before seeing a therapist or seeing my psychiatrist again. I had the idea to put all my shit into a lockbox, which I'm going to I've already reclaimed the lockbox, I just need the key. And I'm going to put my pills away. I'm going to put my knives away. Because if they're not going to fucking trust or believe in me, then I'll just have to trust and believe in myself. And that's where that stubborn pride, where I didn't want to hurt or kill myself to prove that I'm wrong. But yeah, to not acknowledge that I'm doing better is just like, well, fuck you. Because, like, the first thing I did when I got back to the States was get my insurance running. I went and in 24 hours, less than 24 hours, set up myself for, working on getting myself the Medi-Cal for... I went and set up for myself the Medicaid, Medicare, I can never remember which one's for everyone, and which one's for seniors. But I went and set that up. I went and started my forms, and I called up the people when I was having trouble, and got improved. All within less than 24 hours, only within a few hours. And then I went, and as soon as I had all my information, went and got myself the information for getting me the ball rolling for mental health, like a therapist and such. Luckily, my psychiatrist already took me, so I didn't have to worry about that. But it was just like, I'm sorry. Have I not been showing signs of improvement? Have I not been productive in working on? I started my vlog again. Like, I've been doing videos weekly, several times a week. It's just like, thanks for acknowledging all my hard work. Thanks, I appreciate it. Wonderful. Fuck you. And then I also feel like chose the worst possible time to try dropping a bomb like that on me. Like, oh, so you just got approved for severe care? I got approved for severe care, by the way, if I haven't mentioned this. Well, funny thing. We're gonna ask you to upload your entire... So if the angle or something is different or wrong, I apologize. My phone decided too much space. Not enough space, sorry. Not too much space. So if I also repeat myself, I'm so sorry. It's been a hot minute. Like a minute at most. And I also apologize if you now hear the sounds of my computer. I am so sorry. The timing was awful because it was like, so you know how you're just been approved of severe care, you're struggling a lot. Well, how about you go uproot your entire life? Like, it's not the problem about, like, being told to move out. It's not the problem of being, told that the relationship's not going to happen. It's just the problem of telling me that when you know I'm struggling and suicidal depressed and have a lockbox of my... You want to come over here? You want to stop complaining? But just the idea of telling me when you know I am very heavily struggling just feels like really poor fucking timing now, doesn't it? Come here. It just... No. That is a terrible thing to do. Wait until I'm just a little bit... Because I've been getting more and more stable. I've got a therapist now, and that's actually helpful. And I just started therapy too. Like, wait until I've had a month or two of therapy or something to tell me something like that. Wait until I find a good equilibrium of my medication. And wait until I found a good equilibrium now that I know a diagnosis and can get that treated. You don't tell me right after I've just been approved for severe care. You know why it's severe care? It means there's something severely fucking wrong. And, you know what's a really big stressor? Being told to change your entire goddamn life. I'm not just talking about the relationship dynamic or anything like that. I'm talking about the fact that, I'm so sorry, my computer's getting louder and louder, so hopefully the hum reduction will help with that. But, my setup, my everything, where am I supposed to go? I'm not moving back in with my family. I'd rather go homeless. Tell me about it. And don't get me wrong, the idea of moving out has been a thing. I thought about it, It's not like it's new of a thought, because I know that I'm a burden here and all that jazz. But, it was very kind of triggering and not great on timing and shit to tell me that when I was told. And I'm gonna get to that detail I said that bothered me. A week. They've only been talking about it for a week. I'm sorry, you're not showing me the same fucking respect and, whatnot that I've shown you. And here's the thing. I can totally respect the idea that I'm being bad for their mental health. I completely can understand that. If my presence hurts them, etc., if I've been obnoxious, if I've been too loud, been too much, getting in the way of partners, etc., 100% I get that. I'm not the easiest person to be around, the easiest person to love or live with. However, I would say I'm pretty responsive and receptive to being called out. I would say I'm pretty good at being told, hey, there's a problem, can we work on it? I would say that is something I'm decent at. And so I would have liked if they had sat me down and be like, hey, look, you having very loud meltdowns or spirals is kind of troubling. Like, it kind of hurts. Do you think that you could maybe instead, talk to us or, find a different thing to cope with, or, hey, we need more time with our partners and kind of making things weird, sit me down and talk about how I could change things up. Have a conversation, instead of jumping to an extreme. Instead of being hypocrites. Because that's something that got on my case for, was the fact that I broke things off without talking to them about problems and such. And 100% agree, 100% valid. I should have been talking to them. I should have been having discussions with them. Agreed. They didn't do the same. And yes, it's a different situation in the sense of breaking up versus moving out. Like, we're broken up already, but we're still supposed to be good friends. We're still people who have been close for 4 years now. Are we just going to throw out 4 years so easily over a week of talking about it? Like, I'm willing to move out. But I'm also willing to make changes and work on things. And I've also been talking about factoring in math for me to help pay bills, for me to help pay the mortgage and things like that. Like, this has been discussions I've been having. I even got myself approved for food stamps, and we've been using my food stamps to help pay for groceries, and that's been helping. So like, after I got my first food stamps, right after I scheduled an appointment to get my permit and license so I could help with driving around the house, right after we've talked about things to help me to do help in the house, and go away. I get it, I do, but at the same time, it's really fucking odd timing. But I'm gonna get onto the week of planning thing. Yes, like I mentioned already, 4 years, and just gonna throw it away on a week of discussing. Before I ended things, I gave it a fucking year. I at least tried to see how I would still feel in a year. I'm not asking them to give me a year, but I'd ask for more than a goddamn week, especially leaving me out of the conversation instead of saying, hey, can we change some things first before jumping to, I'm sorry, but I know it sounds like it might be over dramatic for me to say it's extreme, but I don't know. Asking someone to uproot their entire fucking life feels like an extreme. Like, everything will have to change for me, and that's valid. I need to have a reality check. I need to start, paying bills and blah, 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 blah. But it's still a lot, but it's just like, they didn't show me the respect to at least think about this for over a week. And honestly, I do feel like what Kitty was doing was a bit impulsive. Like, I don't think that was supposed to be the night they were going to discuss it. I could be wrong. And she even said, like, oh, I wish that, Hummingbird was here for this thing. It should be between the three of us. but I'm going to do it anyways. And so maybe it was supposed to happen that night. I don't know. But if it was supposed to happen that night, it was supposed to happen in general, I think she jumped the gun. I think she shouldn't have done it that night. That was not the right night to do it, And at first, after being told, I was very pissed off with myself and Capybara, because I feel like I gave up so much and now I'm losing everything. I literally felt like I just lost everything in that moment when I found out that nothing was going to work out between the girls and I. Kitty's like at this point where she's like very conflicted and confused and not sure she knows she probably couldn't take more than 3 partners, and she has 3 partners right now. Hummingbird sounds like it's an absolute no as of right now, but mostly because she's working on her fucking health. She got a disability and she has 3 partners and she couldn't do more than 3 partners. I get that. But it's just like, it still felt like I lost everything, because not only was I losing them as potential partners ever again, I'm losing the one place that ever felt like my real home. This is the one place I ever felt home. The only people I ever felt truly at home with, This is the first time I felt like I had a home. Like my family, it was a house, and they provided for me, they gave me my necessities, etc. You come here. And so it's not easy. It fucking isn't. I don't know, that feels like that would be a really big fucking trigger for someone who's depressed and suicidal, And so in that moment of thinking I lost everything, and I start talking it over with my friends, my 2 best friends. One of them I actually met through this channel. But I was talking over, I was like, oh my god, I kept on saying to my best friend, like, do I need to turn myself into the ER? Should I go to the ER? Should I go to the ER? And my friend said, maybe you should call 911 or whatnot. And then my other friend, I told her, like, hey, I think I might need to turn I think I might need to call 911. Should do it. And I was like, okay, I'm coming down. And I kind of talked to them eventually about how I was kind of, like, at first I was just like distraught, despair. I don't know how I'm gonna function. To, you know what? That was kind of fucked up. That was kind of fucked. That actually was kind of really poorly timed, poorly managed. And I don't feel okay with that. Like, I'm not upset about being asked to leave. That's valid. I'm not upset about being told I was not great for the mental health. That's valid. And when I asked her, like, am I hurting you? Like, what am I doing wrong? Not because I want, like, explanation, blah, blah, blah. It's more of, I want to know how I can fix things, especially for as long as I'm going to stay here, because obviously I'm not going to be leaving the next day or something like that. It's just like, what can I do differently until I am out of your lives, so I don't keep making things uncomfortable, awkward, whatever the fuck it is. Because she didn't really give me anything either when I did ask. That was before I left. She was like, there's nothing left to talk about. But there is something more to talk about. I just didn't have anything to talk about in that very moment, because like I said, you gotta give someone time to fucking process when you drop a fucking huge bomb like that on them. I had that spiral, and I'm just like, I wanted to die. I wanted to hurt myself. I wanted to disappear. But I wasn't going to, because I'm stubborn and prideful. And I didn't, it was that, because I want to prove them wrong, but also the idea of, I didn't want to traumatize them. I didn't want them to blame themselves. I didn't want them to come check my room later and see that I was fucking dead, and or even later on to see that I've hurt myself and, feel guilt over that, feel blame for that, and then also be like, I told you so. I didn't want that, but it was just like, I couldn't function. I was just like, oh my god, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. Because, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to wake up with this feeling. Can I even sleep right now? And so I eventually did put myself out on the couch, in the same, like, kind of the same, the way the living room, dining room area is, it's a little complicated where it's not, there's separate rooms, but they're not really. There's only like a small little half wall that goes halfway through the room to separate the 2 things. And so Kitty was, playing games on her computer. And so I was kind of in a blind side of her, though, because she had her back to me and the half wall was there and the TV's above the half wall. So she couldn't really quite see me, but I was at least in her presence, so I don't know if she'd even notice if I did much. But yeah, I was, messing with my friend. Eventually, when I got in the call, the other friend, and I went to the other room, and then I went back out there. And I just kind of, after I told them, okay, I'm not gonna call 911 yet. Because I didn't really want to go at night either. I was like, I'd rather go in the daylight. But I was like, I'm not gonna call 911 or the number, my crisis line for my insurance yet. I'm gonna take it an hour at a time. I'm feeling that numb. I'm feeling that calm. I will take it an hour at a time. if at the beginning of each hour I'm still numb or calm, I'll wait for the next hour. And if the next hour comes and I feel that crash, if I feel I'm having a meltdown again, I will call. And I was going to keep them in the loop and such. And so eventually when I kind of was ready, I just put on Pokemon movies and passed out on the couch. I wanted to kind of have a moment to call out Kitty that night, before, after she got off her games, and call with her girlfriend, and, but I felt bad about doing it before she went to bed, and besides the fact that I conked out myself before I could. And I wanted to make sure I did it before, I want to do it before it's too late, because I don't want it to seem like it's out of nowhere, or too late. But I knew her girlfriend was going to come Friday night, and so it'd be really rude of me to both of them to mention it in front of her, to call her out in front of her girlfriend. It feels really fucking rude. So, and her girlfriend was going to be there before I got home because I had a long day Friday. I'll show some results of what happened there, because I ended up tripping a couple times. Like the top, my hiking boots, they had those little like hook kind of things at the very top of them, and so what ended up happening twice was I ended up tripping because the lace on one shoe got caught on the hook of the other, and it would happen when I did like a run thing, and then I would just fucking first time I was able to catch myself with both hands, so my hands were the only ones that really got damaged. I got like a little nicked, but not like any real like skin breakage the first time. Second time, full on bleeding. It goes halfway down my calf, or halfway down my shin, and halfway up my thigh. I'll put pictures, and it was bleeding. And it looks worse this morning, or the next morning and such, but like, yeah, I'll live. I'm super fucking sore. Also up the night before therapy. I also told my friends, like, I'll talk to my therapist, and she thinks to 5150 me or whatever, then I'll do that. Something broke in me again. Usually when I say that, it's usually a bad thing. Like, that happened when Capybara started seeing this other girl, and I got really fucking jealous, and it felt like something broke in me. And then when I broke things off with the girls, I felt like something broke in me again. All for the bad, But this time, I feel like I broke some fucking chains. I get fueled by fury. I get so angry I don't want to die anymore, and I want to just fucking prove people wrong. I just want to pull through and be like, I prove you wrong. I prove that I'm worth something. Jesus, this has gone so long. Like, I gotta show you comparisons, how short it used to be. And that comes to the first sticker idea I actually did. I showed you the second one first, but, where it's a phoenix. No, that's the wrong side. It's a phoenix. And it says, I'm still deciding which order to put it in. Currently I have it where it's fueled by flames, fueled by flames, fueled by fire, fueled by fury. And I'm thinking of either making it fueled by fire and then fueled by flames, but fueled by fury has to be the last one. I just put flames first because it's a longer word, but I feel like fire would be first before flames. But whatever. I'll ask. You guys want to give me an opinion on that one? And I'm going to legit make a sticker of both of these guys. And I'm thinking of giving the crude hand gesture, like wings, like phoenix wings. Because I just, at first in the morning, Friday morning, I was just really anxious. I'm like, I can't afford to get upset. If I get upset, I'm going to spiral. I'm going to not want to continue and pull through. And I had to look Cappy now. I was like, I don't think I can tell you just yet the information, but something happened last night, and I'm struggling, and like, I love you, and I'm so sorry if my head's in a bad place, and I'm not ready to tell you what happened, but I promise I will eventually, and I can't tell you how soon that will be, or how long that will be, And he was very loving, understanding, and supportive. And I had to get my blood drawn that morning, and then I went into my therapist's appointment. I made my thyroid checked because thyroid and bipolar are actually very highly linked. If you didn't know that, Hashimoto's can look like bipolar because your thyroid goes, hyperthyroid makes you seem manic, and hypothyroid makes you seem depressed. So my mom was misdiagnosed with bipolar because of that. Eventually, and I kept practicing in my head a million times how I wanted to talk to Kitty about what happened and how I felt fucking wronged by the way it was addressed, by the timing, all that jazz, and call them out as hypocrites. And I did that hundreds of times in my head throughout the entire day. But I felt like I was worth something for the first time in a while. I mean, I have had a few high moments of that, but they were just purely anger. And I felt hopeful and moving forward. Like, my best friend and I were talking about moving in together. He's about to move into my county soon. He's just had top surgery too. I'm so fucking happy for him. He deserves the happiness in the world. He's been fighting with his folks forever about getting trans healthcare, and he's finally started surgeries and such, and he started hormone a bit back, and he finally has top surgery, and I'm so fucking happy for him. But he's gonna be moving closer to me, and so we're thinking of eventually moving out together and maybe have a friend or two else, because it'll be a lot cheaper to have more people to split the bills between, but yeah, rent between. And one of my friends is already local, and they are disabled, so they're getting money from disability, and then his friend is from a area that is where he currently lives, and so she doesn't sound like she's wanting to really leave that area. I don't blame her. I would move to that area if it was fucking cheaper. That area is not. That area is pretty up there in price. So here is more affordable. That's why my family moved over here in the first place. But yeah, I felt inspired. I did fucking art. I've doodled 2 things in the last 24 hours, and it's been really fucking hard to draw more than once a month or so. I was living, and I was ready to live. If only to prove them wrong, or even do something for myself. Both. It was both. It's not just out of spite. It's like, I am a fucking phoenix again. I need to make myself some phoenix wings or something. I would have to get like actual feathers, or like not like real feathers, but like fake feathers and such. I'm gonna get the tattoo. If I haven't shared the tattoo design, I'll share it now. I'm ready to live. And who knows, maybe in a week, a couple days, a month, I'll have a crash again. But right now, what's important is living this moment, being as productive as I can, being as forward thinking as I can, being as ready as I can. I'm not saying not to plan for things going bad in the future, but I feel like the best thing is to not worry about what can happen, besides a little planning about it, but focus on what's currently happening and what you can do to keep it going well. Easier said than done, I know. It's fucking Phoenix thing, man. I have poem ideas in my head, but I've already had song lyrics I wrote, and I'm gonna post that for sure this streaming Saturday. So maybe one of the other things prior is, I think. No, Phoenix is coming this Saturday. But just being ready to live and keep going, soaring, and just being pissed. Like, so much I want to say fuck you to the face of them. They're good people, don't get me wrong. But they've hurt me. Not just this time, but just they've hurt me in the past. Not intentionally. Like, they didn't mean to, but I felt abandoned by them whilst dating them before. And I felt like this kind of unwanted by them at some point too. And it's just like, no. On top of everything that happened last night, they ended up going to a gay bar to go see a drag show, and they like, you want to come along? And I was like, I'm exhausted. I've been out 8 to like nearly 6 or so, 8 a.m. to like nearly 6 or so, and I was just like, and I also got like all the fucking bumps and bruises and scars, but bad scrape and such. I was tired emotionally and other things. I said I really, really wanted to go. I did. I wanted to go to the gay bar for ages now. I'd love to start doing drag kinging shit, but it probably is best that I wait until I get back from the camp anyways. But it was just like, I appreciate the offer, but you kind of dropping this on me like last fucking minute, and I'm fucking exhausted. So next time, I need the rest. I say that, but then I ended up just being productive instead, and I laid in my bed for a bit, and then eventually I was like, fuck this. And I got up, I cleaned the kitchen, I cleaned both bathrooms, and just did my thing. It's nice being productive. I know it'll go away eventually, but I'm just going to live while I can live. And that's okay. it's okay to have those spirals and not always be feeling worthy. Because I'll just live until the next time that I can feel worthy. I mentioned how things with Cappy, about how he's pissed me off a few times. So, like a month or so ago, he talked about how he wants to make himself a site for his voice acting. And I was like, oh, I'd love to help. You know, I can't remember if he asked me to help or I offered first. But I was like, yeah, I would love to help. I want to help. Like, I like doing design stuff and, you know, inspire me to work on my own and such. And so... I kept on like pushing and poking him, like, oh, send me, like, maybe we can start drafting things, or, you know, like, send me some images you want on the site, you know, whether it be headshots or, you know, the drawings, etc. that I've done for him. You know, I'm just, you know, giving him nudges, you know, showing my eagerness to do it, you know. I was like, oh, next time we chat, we should do, you know, a thing talking about it, you know. And last Saturday morning, I'm blanking now, but he tells me that him and his friend are currently working on it instead. And he's like, oh, I just want, you know, I didn't want to stress you out. You've got a lot going on. And da-da-da. And I'm just like, the fuck, bro? I wanted to work on this. I've already been drafting things out, you know? I didn't do much drafting because, like, you know, I needed his approval and consent. And then later on, I even found out he fucking already paid for a domain name. I didn't know he paid for it. And he sends me, like, what their afternoon worth of work is, and it's nothing. It's, like, I guess a template. And then, like, you have his 3 audio reels already up there, and, like, a joke, like, recommendation and shit. And it's just, there's nothing there. It's purely template. Okay, I guess. That's an afternoon worth of work. And, I kind of lied to him at one point, and like the next day or 2 days after, I went and again an hour, under 2 hours, I went and made my own version of the site on this form I was going to do, and there's way more on my version than there is on the friend's version, and my friend said that they do kind of like what I've got going on a little better. There's also this really ugly, like, stretch out thing that's going on the font of theirs, and I'm just like, please tell me that's not gonna be on the final version, that needs to change, please. I know it's just a draft, but making sure you check that out of your draft. Like, do not forget to remove that looks awful. And the friend did agree. And, you know, I showed him, and he's like, oh my god, I didn't know you had that much already worked out, like, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, I mean, did your friend want to work on this, or are they simply doing it because you asked? Because I do want to work on this. And you could tell I was kind of looking for a fight, and I guess I kind of was. And he's just like, look, it's morning, I have a hangover, I'm about to leave for a volunteer thing, like, this is not the right time to bring this up with, like, can you not do this right now? Can we talk about it during, like, our voice chat, video chat? And I'm like, there's not really anything left to talk about. And I did tell him, like, you know, if your friend wanted to work with me, we could always do that. And then he later on talked to his friend sounds down, and then we did, like, a video chat, voice chat, whatever. It doesn't really feel like there's much I could do to work with, you know? Like, it doesn't feel practical to work together. His friend's cool. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with his friend. But just, like, at this point, I'm just like, no. There's nothing really for me to add here, like, unless you're just going to piggyback and copy all my work. Because I went and grabbed, like, over 20 or so recommendations over from his voice acting thing. I went and grabbed, you know, more than just the demo reels he had, but a couple of, like, work he's done for me. And I went and made the playlist, etc., and put up art and all that jazz. That's my work. They're not having that. I haven't told him, and I will tell him if he ever asks, but, you know, like, I quit. It's mine. I'm deleting it. Bye. I'll probably put screenshots, but, like, censor out names and such, to show, like, what I've done, and especially in comparison to what him and his friend did in the afternoon. I'm sorry. I'm a very salty, mean, vindictive person, and I don't show that side of me very often. People don't realize that about me because I am very good at masking, and masking is happy when I'm either angry, or masking I'm happy when I'm incredibly fucking depressed. And that's probably the reason that my borderline slipped through the cracks for so long, because like I'm not a confrontational person usually, but you know, I'm kind of slipping out of that a little bit more as years are going by, where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm pissed. Deal with how pissed I am. If you piss me off, that is. Like, I don't want to harm anyone that didn't that didn't deserve the hate, you know, or the anger. But yeah. If he ever brings up about like, oh yeah, you and Tom want to work on things, and we're like, no, I quit. Sorry, I'm not interested on it anymore. Missed your fucking chance. And then that same day also, so like earlier in the week, he asked me like, oh, you want a video chat, you know, that day. And I told him, like, look, I'm in a really bad mental place. I can't give you a yes or no right now. Can you ask me later in the week? And he's like, you know, I guess he said, okay, whatever. And so that morning, I was like, are you going to chat tonight? And he was like, oh, I made plans. And I'm like, well, I guess I probably should have asked yesterday, but, you know, okay. And he's like, oh, but it's okay. I can reschedule the plans. It's okay. We can still chat. And I'm just like, bro, I asked you to ask me later in the week, you know? Like, I kind of thought we were going to do it, because if, you know, but no, it was just kind of like, that kind of, both those things kind of annoyed me. It was like, didn't fucking ask. Like, bro, I've been pushing for like the last month or so about doing the site thing, and then thinks, oh, I'm going to take the stress off of you, and not think to ask before you start the thing with a friend, like, hey, is it okay if I end up, or even like tell me before it's already started, but like, hey, my friend and I are going to work on it instead, and be like, you cool with that? Like, or just let you know, because no, what? Instead of just drop it on me after they've already, you know, paid for things. And technically, the thing I'm using, you can actually link the already paid domain to the other thing. I'm just going to be fucking salty and not let them have it. I'm going to delete it. But I'll keep it here just so I can show you guys. I'll keep it until I've, I guess, posted this, maybe. Maybe we'll see when I decide to delete it. And, but then it was just also annoying that, like, instead of, like, I'm fine with the fact that he made plans, but I wish he would have told me and be like, hey, I know I asked about Saturday, you never said yes or no, so I'm going to make some plans with friends, hope you don't mind, you know, or something like that. Or, hey, I'm making plans with some friends, but if you want, we can do it, you and I can do it instead. You know, it was kind of giving me a heads up when plans have been asked about, you know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I could have said, hey, I'm down for Saturday later down the week. But he could have also, you know, communication, like when his friends asked, hey, you know, want to do Saturday? He could have been like, 1 second, I'm going to check and see if my partner, you know, and I were going to do something, because we talked about it's a possibility. You know, communication and shit, you know, and that annoyed me. And then the next night, something that really kind of got under my skin, I mentioned this earlier about like finding him very immature, was he was talking about how he's now very much pussyfooting on wanting to come over. And I don't know if I talked about how I got intimate with Kitty's partner. He very much has taken that into a very dark place that happened. And I guess I understand what he's going through, because I went through the same thing back in 2020. That's when I first had concerns of, you know, borderline and such. And I get where he's coming from. I understand the pain and the anger, but I also feel like I went a different direction than he has, where I wasn't angry with the person, and I wasn't really angry with him per se. I was maybe upset with how he handled it and how he didn't like communicate better about it, and I didn't either, to be fair, but I was mostly kind of angry with myself. You know, I didn't take that anger out on the other person. I didn't take it out on, I was a bit cruel to him, but you know, it was mostly self-hatred that was happening there. And what worse is, like, I feel like he kind of wasn't making the situation any better. But instead of being angry with me, he's taking it out on the person. He's taking it out on Kitty's girlfriend. And yeah, she's not perfect, but you know, she doesn't deserve such fucking unbridled hatred and anger, because he's like, I want to hurt her, is something he's even said. I gone as far as saying that. He wants to say mean things to her, you know, whatever. And it doesn't fucking feel fair to her. And then he gets upset when I've shown, like, empathy or whatnot towards her. Which I'm like, bro, you know I'm fucking immature to be like, acknowledge that someone's in pain, acknowledge someone's hurt or whatever, and just be like, well, I'm not a fan of them, so I don't have any sympathy or empathy for that. Especially if it's something unrelated, something that they couldn't really help, like abuse or whatever. And just to be like that? What the fuck? And I want to explain, like, about what happened. Like, yeah, I should have told him sooner about the fact that we got intimate, because what seemed to be the main problem is I didn't tell him right away. And he was also upset that it only took, like, a week or so. I'm like, bro, I know so many people who, you know, sleep with people on the first date. Like, okay. Like, I get it. Like, I my entire time was saying, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing that. I had a fucking anxiety attack when it first happened and such. Afterwards, like, after it happened, I was just like, fuck, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done this. But it's just like, here's the thing. Despite me giving him chances, he never gave me any boundaries. I told him, like, hey, I really would like if you told me about what's going on. I really like if you told me that you're talking to someone, you're gonna date someone, you're gonna fuck someone. Especially the fuck part, because it's like, if he ends up getting, you know, any STDs or getting someone pregnant, that's kind of important for me to know. But, like, I don't need to know the details of it. I don't need to know what they're saying. I don't need to know what they're kinking, you know, things like that. Just, like, it's important to me to know what's happening in his life, so I can also either, like, give space, you know, or find a way to plan our schedules out. I would like Kitchen Polly. I want to be friends with my metamors. I don't want to have that situation again where I don't like my metamor. And I'd like us to all get along, whether as friends or as romantic interests ourselves, because we kind of are in the preference of having a third, you know, all of us romantically involved. But I understand that's not always the most practical. And I gave him chances to give me limits, to give me boundaries. Like, do you want me to talk about it? Do you want me to just X, Y, or Z? And he didn't give me any, so I feel like his anger is a little uncalled for, because I gave him chances to say, hey, please do tell me about these things happening, or please don't tell me these things happening. He's like, no, I don't have any. I'm like, well, if you come up with some later, please let me know. We had that conversation, and I tried asking him, like, earlier when I first was spiraling from, you know, hearing about him going really well, talking about how to date someone, and me having already now been intimate with the other person. And I was like, what do we do as long distance people when we come visit each other? What do we do? Do we ask the partner to leave? Do we ask them to comment? Do we have them around and share what little time we already have with each other with the other person? Like, what are we going to do? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, no, this is something that needs to be talked about sooner than later. So we can let our new partners in on what is the dealio. Like, I feel like he wasn't really thinking ahead. And I also was, like, in the mindset of, like, especially since his mom was, you know, highly against polyamory now, I was in the mindset of, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to let your mom know who this new person is? Are you just going to keep them, like, secret? Because I fucking would hate that if my partner was keeping me a goddamn secret. I'm very much the person who, as soon as I'm serious about someone, I will take them to meet my family. Queer, trans, polyamorous, like, that my family's important to me, to an extent, and my partners are important to me, and it's important that they know this very important person in my life and that I'm serious about them. And I know it took him a while to talk to his parents about me. It was just like, he's kind of grown since then, so I would hope he wouldn't be, like, doing that anymore. But, like, if him and that other partner ever got fucking serious, what, is he just going to keep them in the fucking dark from his mom, who he loves more than anyone in the fucking world? That feels kind of shitty. What was he? Was he gonna tell her that him and I broke up and that's why he's with someone else now? Like, she's gonna notice him going out on dates. Like, even if he doesn't ever introduce them, she's gonna notice that. See, you don't think about any of this. Was he gonna lie to her saying he's going out with friends? I don't know. It's like he was not trying to think about those things. And it felt like we were both kind of rebounding, like in the sense of we were both really missing each other, and so we're trying to fill that hole that the other person left. And that was very bad, and I fucked up with that, and I've done that in the past too, and I was worried he was going to do that too, that this person was going to get serious about him, and he realized, oh, I wasn't actually interested, and so either it hurt that person very fast, or B, stay with them out of, obligation, because I've done that, and later it caused problems down the road, because I've done that. And I asked him to, like, make sure you realize why you're doing this. Because, like, his thing was like, oh, it's mostly for validation. I want to see how many likes I can get, how many matches I can get. I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't think that's how you should use dating apps. But, do your thing, my dude. And here's my thing, though. It's my process. Especially since he did eventually set up a date. And then he canceled it for me, even though I told him not to. So, step one. He's, looking for matches. You get some matches, like, oh, okay, people like me on a superficial level, artificial level, superficial, yeah, cosmetic, and then he's gonna start talking to them, see if they like his personality, to get them to, like, laugh at his jokes and like his personality, like his voice, etc. And they do. Oh, that feels nice. Let's go on a date so then they can see me in person and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds good. You're fucking lonely, and now you are, and you're missing your sexual partner, your romantic partner, and now you've got someone in front of you who wants you and finds you attractive and maybe wants to fuck, and you're lonely, you're desperate, you're touch starved, you're desperate for human touch. It's gonna feel very awfully tempting to go through with it. So I don't think he realizes it's not that uncommon for people to have sex on first dates, or shortly after talking to each other on dating apps. I'm not saying it would happen, but it happens quite a bit, and it's going to be goddamn tempting. And I wouldn't judge him if he did it, but the fact that he didn't even think that was going to happen, because, like, the girl in question already started talking to him about kinks, and I'm like, that's a really good fucking sign for you that she's interested. But most girls especially would not, or femme people even, would not start talking to you about their kinks and interests unless they were hoping that you would do this with them. I'm not saying she was planning on fucking him on the first date, but I thought that was, I was well aware that could be on the table. But he was like, oh, I know I wasn't planning on, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, whether or not you planned on it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean it doesn't have a potential of happening. But, good for you if it did. I want to work on that. I want to work on my jealousy, my possessiveness, and such. But yeah, it was just like, he never gave me, like, restraints or boundaries. And then he gets upset that I did something despite that. And he tried claiming I was controlling and I was a hypocrite. So I did tell him I want to tell him those things. And sometimes it's just not easy to do it right away. The night I was going to tell him, when it first immediately happened, he had a fucking spiral where he even made himself bled. Like, what the fuck was I supposed to do? He was telling me how lonely he felt. I'm like, what, I'm supposed to tell him in someone else's bed while he's telling me he's fucking lonely as hell? Like, no. That's just gonna hurt him more. Like, that was not the right time. And yeah, it's a fucking excuse on my part, but would he have done anything? Would he have done the same? Would he have done it differently? I don't know. I don't feel like he would have. Especially since it did take him so long to even tell me the name of the other person from 2020. He didn't tell me until, like, this fucking last month. And he's kind of told me that if you do continue the poly thing, he wants kind of like a don't ask, don't tell, but he doesn't want to know. I'm like, well, A, if you want to have a third, that's not going to really work, my dude. But B, you're going to figure it out eventually. Like, your schedules and such, like, that's not something you can hide. And see, that sounds like a very unhealthy way to deal with the fact that you're jealous. Like, instead of confronting it, like, I'm trying to, it doesn't feel like it's a good way to go about it. So now he has a boundary. It's don't ask, don't tell. I'm not, there's just so much to unpack with this, where I'm not going to get too much into it, and unless people want me to. There's a lot. But I do want to actually talk about, I was kind of, I don't know if I told about how I've noticed that Kitty's girlfriend wasn't really someone that I wouldn't want to be, like, one-on-one friends with, but, I'm willing to give it a chance again. And so I did kind of apologize to her, because I kind of, like, when shit went down with Cappy, I just kind of ghosted her and like ignored her and avoided her kind of thing. Not ignored, but you know, avoided her. I need my space to kind of process everything through. It was a really hard time. I kind of apologized to her the night I was spiraling. I told her like I might need to call 911 on myself right now. But yeah, so I have apologized, and I was like, you know, if you want to try again as friends and such, I'm willing, I'm open if you wanna. And also, the day I went to like my therapy appointment and such, I actually went and texted Kitty's other girlfriend, the one that I've had a big grudge against because of how she treated Kitty. And I kind of told her about that, and I apologized that I didn't, you know, handle the most mature and communicate and such sooner. And yeah, so I feel like I'm trying to unburn bridges. Sorry, I was supposed to get onto the topic of why I was pissed off with Cappy about the thing song about not wanting to visit. So I've mentioned that I feel like I've made a lot of goddamn sacrifices. I gave up the polyamory. To be fair, he didn't ask me to do that, but I did. And because I thought it'd make him happy, and it did make him happy at first. And now we're back on the idea of non-monogamy. But yeah, so I gave up. And then the fact that it's not going to happen again, it's like I feel like I fucking gave up everything. I'm even giving up my living environment. I made that choice to do that for him, so that he and I could have, you know, each other and such. And I'm willing to pack up everything and move to the UK for him. I'm willing. I stayed in the UK for him during a really hard fucking time. Somewhere that's new to me, somewhere I can't really get easy health, you know, like easy access to health things if anything went wrong because it's not my country, etc. And I did that for him, and I stayed. And I was willing to, even if he was going to ask me or not to. And he even told me that he was very grateful that I stayed during the time his father passed away. And that was a really fucking hard time for me. I was having suicidal spirals, you know? I feel like that was a sacrifice I made. And the fact that he's like, his main reason for not wanting to come over was he was worried to be awkward. He was worried that he was going to be angry if he ran into his girlfriend because he wants to hurt her. And I'm like, dude, your anger should be at me, not at her. Grow the fuck up. I understand what you're feeling. Maybe you're not ready for it, but we're talking about like in a year and a half. We're not talking about right now. We're not talking about this year. We're not talking about in a few months. We're talking about like, this is currently June or May. It's currently May. It's gonna be May. It's currently May, and we're talking about the holidays of next year. Who's to say Kitty and her current girlfriend are going to be still together? Who's to say that they're going to be around each other near as much as they currently are? Like, what if Kitty and her girlfriend get other partners and so she's balancing her time now and she's around a lot less often? I even saying to him, like, we don't even have to stay here most of the time. We go have our week in town at an Airbnb, and then we go camping. We go to the other area that I really, really want to take him for a night. And whenever we are here, between those moments, I'll make sure to plan it around the time that I know that the girlfriend is working, you know, that she won't be around. I can even ask, like, hey, is it cool, just to avoid confrontation? And he was still like, no, well, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. And, you know, I guess we'll think on it. And just like, I'm asking for something so small. I'm not even asking him to be here for more than a month or a month. Even if he just came for a week, all I'm asking is that he comes and visit me at least once, when I've done so twice now for long periods of time, when tensions were high. Like, he doesn't think that it was not easy for me to be around his mom after a lot of shit that's happened. Like, bro, fuck you. Like, I told my best friend, like, this is gonna be a deal breaker if he still hasn't changed his goddamn mind closer to the time. That's it. That's fucking it. Either I'm ending things with him, or there's gonna be a huge fucking shift in our dynamic. I'm worth more than that. And I was feeling that way before the whole Phoenix thing that just happened. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but that's not goddamn fair. Don't get me wrong, I didn't do those things in hope that he would do the same for me. I wasn't doing them like expecting anything back. But it's just like the effort I've put in does not fucking amount to the effort he's willing to put in for me. Like, the fact that the main thing about like not wanting me to be around is probably based around his mom and like coward. I called him a coward, and he's agreed that he's a coward. And he's just like, he doesn't trust me, and I don't trust him for a lot of things, but just, I don't trust how he's going to emotionally react is the mostly what I don't trust him with. And he's just like, No, I've put up with a lot, and I won't put up with that. Just one goddamn week. 1 month. I don't care. Just, even if it's just a fucking weekend, which not worth the money to come for just a weekend, like, for that much of a, for that big of a trip. That's gonna cost like a fucking $1,000 for just a weekend. I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it. But you get what I mean. Like, I'm also offering to pay for the entire expenses for the plane ticket, for the Airbnbs and shit. I'm willing to pay those things. Also, I could get him here. I want to show him my home. I want him to meet my family, like both biological and found, because he means that much to me, and that means that much to me. And for him to be like, oh, I don't think I can, just because the slight chance, the potential of running into someone that he might not even feel angry with anymore, or someone that might not even be here anymore. And it's just like, fuck you. I'm sorry. No. That's fuck you. I'm feeling great the last couple of days. And if it doesn't last, that's okay. But I'm going to believe in myself because of the 2 people that I thought I could trust most right now. Obviously, my best friend is the only person I trust full-heartedly, but I thought too highly of the girls, I guess. And they're not going to believe in me or trust me. They're not going to fucking acknowledge the work I've done and how hard I've tried and how much better I'm doing. Then they can go fuck themselves. I still care about them. I still think they're lovely people, but fuck that shit. Like, no. I'm gonna try my best to believe myself. When I start slipping back, I guess I'll bring up the lockbox again. But I want to believe I'm strong enough. I'm doing better for myself, my own well-being, but also, like, you know, to prove them wrong. I'm not gonna prove them wrong just to see, look, who can stay now. But just because, like, I'm worth more than that fucking doubt. Like, give me a chance to fucking work on it before you just completely count me out. I don't feel like I was given a fair chance. They didn't ask shit of me to work on it. It doesn't feel fair. So it is like, I will talk about it with them, or at least Kitty, because she's the one who brought it up, and call her out and say that hurts and that was not fair. So when it happens, it happens. But yeah, it feels good to unburn some bridges. It feels good like I'm going to work on things with people. I went and re-downloaded the dating app for her and Hinge. I'm mostly going to probably focus on her. And it's not just for dating, just kind of like finding like-minded people, especially polyamorous people, queer, non-binary people, you know. Even just for friends. Like, it could be good. So yeah. I'm not leaving the psych ward. You can take me out of the psych ward, but you never take the psych ward out of me. But I'm working on it. Like I said, I know there's going to be struggles and spirals in the future. But while I can, I'm going to live. I know I keep repeating that, but yeah. And prepare for Phoenix on Saturday. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to me rant and rave and ramble as I usually do. You're wonderful, and I hope you all have a gay day.
Well, they're glad that you stayed, yet you wasted yet another day. Their videos are a bore, but they've got lots more in store. It's Deranged, Royal Fae. Yeah.